Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to look at the game by my student, Charlie. I haven't looked at his games for a while. Charlie is having an excellent season competing for his school in the high school chess league. He, so far, has won every single one of his games, and his school has also won every single one of their matches. Um, Charlie also got back to 2000 in Blitz on chess.com, and this was one of the games which got him there. He played it a couple of days ago. The time control is 3 minutes, and again, the game will not be perfect, but this will allow us to learn something from it. Let's take a look. E4 c6, we got the Caro Kann. The point of Caro Kann is to prepare d5 and to take back with the pawn. Pawn d4, main move. When allowed, you want to control the center. Charlie challenges the center, and White has a choice. He can take, he can push, or he can defend. White decides to defend. Charlie takes the pawn, which makes sense. White takes back, and now Black has a choice. He can challenge the knight with a bishop. He can challenge it with a knight. Or he can prepare this move by playing this move first, so that after he plays there and White takes, he can take back with a knight instead of breaking up his pawns. So Charlie chooses knight f6, and now usually taking makes the most sense, damaging the black pawn structure. But White plays a weird move, plays knight g5. We don't know what this knight does. We don't know why he's here. Charlie plays h6, which is fine. I'm not even sure if I want to kick him. I mean, I guess we can. And the problem for this knight is if he goes here, where does this guy go? So this knight goes here, which, I mean, this knight moved 4 times. And it's not entirely clear what this knight accomplished. And Charlie plays e6, which makes sense, but it's a very small inaccuracy because this bishop is now blocked in. So it would have made more sense to bring the bishop out and then play e6. But okay, Charlie plays e6. White reinforces his center. That makes sense. Charlie develops his bishop. Also makes sense. And White offers a trade. And now Charlie, if he takes, White knight starts to make sense again. So Charlie plays knight c5, which double attacks his bishop. And now if White takes him, Charlie will take with the queen, and his queen will improve. So knight g5, very nice move. White double defends the bishop. The downside for White is this bishop doesn't play chess, which means he can't castle. Charlie decides to take, which, I mean, it's okay. I think White is happy, though, because now his knight can take and the bishop can play, but at the same time, we now have a long-term advantage. We have the 2 bishops. White takes with this knight, which is okay, but now this knight is here. He's defending this knight. He can't move because this knight will die, which means this bishop is not playing. Charlie brings out the queen, double attacks the knight, makes sense. White defends, okay. Charlie develops another piece, sure. Maybe he can also now play c5 or e5 and try to challenge the center. White castles long. Charlie plays knight b6, which is okay. The knight might go here or here. And white plays a move which makes zero sense. Usually you play a move like f3 to stop black knight from coming over here. Um, there is no knight over here. This pawn move does nothing. Also, this is a light square bishop. If white puts all his pawns on the light squares, that light square bishop is not going to do anything, which obviously he's not doing. Charlie plays knight d5, which is okay. He triple attacks the knight, and white takes. And now probably Charlie should take this pawn in order to release the bishop. I'm assuming that Charlie was afraid of this check, but we're not afraid because we're black with the bishop, and then we will castle, and then we'll put the rook on an open line, and then we'll threaten to move the bishop with tempo, and I think black is absolutely okay. The downside of this move is this bishop is not very good. Okay, white plays king b1, which, I mean, maybe he was afraid that if he moved the knight, Charlie would play here and pin the queen, so the king moves, but also a lot of the time there is a general rule that if you're being attacked on the queen side, you want to tack your king closer to the corner, but I'm not sure this was an absolutely necessary move. Charlie begins to pawn storm. White brings the knight back, which kind of makes sense because the knight can reposition here and maybe here, combined with the rook coming here. Also, now this bishop can finally play. Charlie plays bishop d7, which makes sense, supporting the pawn storm on the queen side. White brings his knight. Okay, that's a chess move. Charlie castles. f4. f4 makes sense because it supports this. It also reinforces my point. The playing f3 just wasn't very good. Charlie plays b5 because he wants to open up the king. White puts the knight on e5. That's why he played f4. That's a good knight. Attacks the bishop. So Charlie decides to take. And white plays f takes because he opens this line and now he wants to attack the black king. Charlie drops the queen, supporting the pawn storm. White improves his bishop, makes perfect sense. If white gets several more moves, white would like to lift one, maybe even both rooks, something like here, here, here. Maybe bring the second rook and do the same thing. Maybe bring it here and here. Maybe bring his queen. Also, if the rook gets here, this is a threat. So white's pieces are pointing to the king side. So he needs to start sending everything in that direction. And Charlie goes for the breakthrough, which is very smart. White tries to keep things closed, which makes sense. But it doesn't quite work. So Charlie takes. So also, now this bishop gets a diagonal. White takes back. Charlie activates the rook with tempo. And white for now holds everything together. And now this is an instructive moment. If you're attacking, how should we continue? I hope all of you were able to find pawn a4, continue to attack, and the additional problem for white is his pawn defends his bishop. So white cannot even take because the bishop will die. And so Charlie will simply open up this line and try to do things. Okay. White brings the rook on an open line. Charlie takes, makes sense. White takes with the bishop, keeping this line closed. And now an extremely nice move by Charlie. And this is an important idea you need to remember. If you're attacking, ask yourself, what is my opponent's best defending piece? And it is this bishop, because this bishop helps to keep things together. He defends this pawn, he covers this square. If we get rid of this bishop, our attack will be much easier. So Charlie plays bishop a4 to trade it off. Very, very good move. White is trying to double up. Charlie is trying to double on the a file. White double attacks this. Charlie gets a little bit scared and decides to defend. White puts a rook across from the king. We talked about this already, threatening this. Charlie takes first, which is smart, because White does not have time for this. Because if he does, we take this with check. And then we need to start the checkmate. So something like this probably doesn't work, because this will be very, very strong. So we might need to, we might need to do something over here. Something like pawn f5, maybe even. because we need to provide defense on this line. Now, in the game, White takes first. Charlie doubles rooks. White plays here, which I don't really understand. And Charlie decides to give up to rooks for a queen and the pawn. In this situation, this is the right decision. This is always a big question. When are the two rooks better? And when is the queen better? And it all depends. In this situation, the queen is better, and I will explain why once we get to this position. Takes. Two rooks are better in the position where the white king is safe, where white doesn't have a lot of possible pawn targets. Because then the rooks can just go and do whatever they want. There are two of them, they can find a target and attack. But the rooks are slow. So in a close position where the queen doesn't have any targets, let's imagine there is a king here, and white pawns are here and here instead of this two. White will be better. But in this position, the king is open. The rooks constantly have to defend things. Also, there are a lot of weak pawns. There are possibilities of forks. The queen is better here. In fact, Charlie plays here, which is okay, but he can already win a pawn with this move, forking these two pawns. He plays here instead. White plays h3 for no good reason, because Charlie had a threat. He wanted to fork. h3 makes 0 sense. Queen e4, attacking the king and the pawn. The pawn falls. White goes crazy. I mean, his pawn is defended, but he needs to ask himself. What can my opponent do next? And of course, black has an easy winning move, which I hope you were all able to see. Queen here forks the king and the rook. It's game over. So, an interesting game, a lot of ideas to remember. Idea number one, just general ideas. Make sure all your pieces come out and make sense. You don't want to spend 4 moves moving a piece around when you can spend developing other pieces. Again, ideally, you don't want to lock one of your pieces in. When you make a pawn push, ask yourself, does it actually help me? A move like f3 doesn't help white. It makes his position worse. And then other ideas which we talked about before. In the opposite side castling, you want to pawn storm. You want to open up your opponent's king. And remember the idea about queens and rooks. Queens like open positions, rooks like positions which are a little bit more closed. I hope this game was useful. Charlie, great job to you. Keep it up. Keep getting better and better. And everyone else, thank you for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and I will be back soon. Thank you.